Hello, so I'll be solving wildcard matching, and basically we just have to match if string and pattern matches, like if the characters in string and pattern matches. But it wouldn't be hard just if we just match the characters. We have to consider these two special cases where if these two symbols are seen in the pattern, let's say question mark, it can represent one single character in a string in that index. So to match the string, this turns to C. But anyway, it's going to be false because A and B doesn't match anyway. But this symbol can, so this one's not just one single character. It can be any sequence, so it can be, and also it could be empty, so it could be 0 to like infinite amount of characters that string can have. So for this case, it will not be empty, but it will be of size 2, and it can be turned into AA. So how do we code this? Well, before we code that, let's look at the base cases, and I think this post explains it really well. So we're going to use a dynamic program array of size +1 because we want to store this base case where if our pattern and string are both empty, then they are definitely going to match, right? But what happens if the string is empty and we have some sort of pattern like ABC or that special symbol? Well, ABC, we can't match ABC with an empty string, right? So only if our pattern has this symbol, then it can be of empty sequence, right? Then only then it will be true. But what if our pattern itself is empty? So what if it's 0, but we have some sort of string like AB? Well, we have no way to match that because our pattern is empty, so that's always going to be false. So we're going to recursively iterate through our dynamic programming array, and we have to check for two conditions. Well, this one's easy, right? If our index at string and pattern matches, or if our index in our pattern has this question mark, then we can replace anything, any character that comes at that index in our string. Also, what we have to consider is that if the previous characters of our string and pattern matches, that's very important. That's why we're using dynamic programming anyway, to store the values as we progress. Now this hard part, this symbol, when we see this symbol, and this is, I think, the hardest condition to really understand, so let's look. Okay, what this means is that when our string has a length lower, I mean one length smaller than our pattern, right? I-1, so that's going to be smaller. So with that analogy, let's look at this. So our pattern, our symbol can act as an empty sequence. So if we have this symbol, well, this can act as an empty sequence, right? But if we have a pattern that's less than our string, and we encounter this special symbol, then that can replace any incoming string characters with just this. Okay. So basically, it's the same intuition with the base case. So let's code it. I think it will get clearer. Let's s.length p length equals p.length, and a Boolean, call it dp equals new Boolean of size s length +1, because we want to put something in the 0 index, +1. and this will always be true. Empty string and pattern will always match. And another base case would be, so if we have some sort of string but an empty pattern, so dp of I, but our pattern itself is empty, well, we have no way of matching that, so this case will always be false. So you can think of like maybe if we have a 3x3 thing, well, this is true, right? And for the row at the 0th column where our pattern is empty, it's gonna be 0, 0. And what if we have some sort of pattern? Oh, it should be this. J less than or equal to p length j plus plus. Okay, so what if we have some sort of pattern but we have an empty string? Well, that can only be true if our p dot char at j minus 1, because it's 0 indexed, is equal to this column. Then that would be true. Else, we break out of the loop. To go through our j. So is there a good example? Oh, there's no 3x3. But anyway, yeah, something like this. If there's like something like here, then it's gonna be 1, right? So once our base cases have been set, let's go. Yeah, let's do this example. So I'll match this thing. So our batch, this is gonna be true, false, false, and p. Yeah, this is gonna be true because we have a column. Now the answer would, we have to find out the answer, so it would be at this index. So for int I equals 1, oh, is there a way to copy this? It's the same iteration. Okay. So as we've said, we have two cases. If it nicely matches, I minus 1 equals p dot char at j minus 1. That's the simplest base case, best case. Or if p dot char at j minus 1 equals that question mark, and that can replace anything. But as we've said, oh man. Let's delete this. But as we've said, we want to check the previous characters of our string and pattern if they indeed match. So we also have to do a AND condition to check if the previous string and pattern matches. So I minus 1 and j minus 1. Only then will our value be true. And else if, this is the hard part, if we encounter this colon, this troublesome symbol, okay, and same here, double colon, same here, we have to check let's make it a bit more nice. and dp of I minus 1 j should be here, or dp I j minus 1. So as I've said, wait, let me finish writing this. So for these cases, as I've said in the example, that's when, for this kind of cases, for uneven lengths, okay, so that's going to be true. And after all this runs, we want to return when we've at the final index, so dps length p length. Okay. Okay, A output is true, but we expected false. Output is true. Yeah, that's not true. D doesn't match C. So I think we have to, oh, wait. There should be a bracket. Oh my gosh. So what this, we have to be really careful about the order of things, because if we don't place a bracket, and we'll only check for this and not this entire thing. That was a careless mistake. Oops. Okay, that should work. Alright, finally. Okay, so that was it. And this question is a bit hard, to be honest. And I'll see you guys next time. Bye.